Thank you all so much for coming. I'm really excited about talking about the 5 hidden truths about diets, because truly what you don't know really could be hurting you. So the objectives for this evening are to learn the 5 hidden truths about dieting and to talk about the 5 steps to overcome the power diets have on your life. So hopefully you've downloaded the handout. If you stay on this call, because I'm going to really have great information, very valuable information, we are going to draw the name of a person here at the end live, and that person is going to win a one-on-one nutrition counseling / coaching session with me. So stay on the call. And everyone else, even though we have one person who's going to win that, we have something for everybody, which I'll share at the end of the session. Everyone gets a special gift just for being here. So a little bit about me. I'm a registered dietitian for 35 years. It's possible it's more. I've become specialized in eating disorders. So I'm a certified eating disorder specialist with the International Association for Eating Disorder Professionals. I'm a certified intuitive eating counselor. I've trained with the authors of the book Intuitive Eating, Evelyn Tripoli and Elise Resch. And I am a licensed body positive facilitator. I've trained with authors of the book Embody and really have body image training. So get ready to learn. It's hard, but see if you can turn off all distractions. Maybe put your cell phone to the side, get the handout ready. And if you don't have the handout, don't worry, don't stress. Just take note of your thoughts and action steps. Okay, the 5 hidden truths about diets. Truth number 1, diets don't work. Diets don't work. Sadly, they make you heavier. So whenever I talk about this, do diets make you heavier? I always ask people to reflect on their own previous history of diets. What's your lowest weight been? What's your highest weight been? And I ask you to think about your friends, your family members, had they been on diets? And if they've been on diets and they lost weight, like how long did it last? It's always like a question. Think about your history and the history of friends and family members. The fact is that we have real statistics. We have real studies that show that diets have a 95 to 97% failure rate. Even as I say it, I get shocked that 1/3 to 2/3 of dieters regain more weight than they lost on their diets. Wow. So here's the problem when studies are done looking at people who diet and their success, great success, there's a bias towards showing successful weight loss maintenance, but it's only in these studies done for like over a year or 2 years. The researchers know they stop at that point because by 5 years out, 95 to 97% of all people will have regained all or more of the weight. And so why does that even happen? So there's a really smart biological answer. And what happens is when we yo-yo diet, which really just means that we go on a diet, we get tired of the diet, we go off the diet, we eat more food, we go on the diet again. Every time you diet, it's like your body is preparing for a famine. You slow the metabolism, and your set point weight, which is a biologically appropriate programmed weight, it ends up going higher. And so, in fact, the avoidance of weight gain will often lead to weight gain. So if our bodies think they won't be getting food when there's a diet, when there's a famine, it really fights. It fights to hold on to the weight that you have, which is why people have plateaus in their dieting. You see that Chinese finger trap picture? That's like you're kind of stuck in there. You're stuck. That's the plateau. That's your body struggling so hard to keep you alive. And the harder you try to force your body into submission, the more it will fight you to keep you alive. It's evolutionary. So this is why every time you go on a diet, your metabolism slows down and your body says, hell no, I'm going to slow down the weight loss because, we got to keep this person alive. So this is actually, it's a wonderful picture that one of my colleagues, Beth Rosen, designed. I love it because it shows what happens to a person's set point weight, which is really, we have a genetic place where our body is designed to be. There's a range according to physical activity levels, age, but generally speaking, your body has a place it likes to be. Okay, so look on the far left, you start a diet, you lose weight, you go down. Okay, you can't be on the diet anymore, you just had enough. Your weight starts to, creep back up, and then it goes up a little bit higher, whether that's 5 or 10 pounds, whatever it is. You got a new set point. And then you go on another diet, you lose weight, you go down. And then, of course, you get off the diet, you go back up, you go back. And if you see that the set point on the far left and the one on the far right, they are different. The one on the far right is higher. That is what happens to our diet, to our bodies with diet after diet. And so diet culture is this incredible machine. It's this industry worth more than $70 billion. And it is truly based on the premise of your failure. You know, diet companies know that you will not be successful on the diet, and it's their success because they're selling more product. They're selling more Metrical. They're selling more Jenny Craig, all that. Okay, step one, how do you overcome the power diets have on your life? Okay, this is going to sound really wild, but live life fully in the present. Just think that if you didn't have a diet to follow and you weren't worried about your size in the moment, you would be able to live your life fully present. You would be able to stop investing time and energy into your unhappiness, which is really what happens when you continue to restrict and restrain and not eat the food that would make you feel satisfied. The bottom line is your weight will find its natural, happy set point weight that's genetically predetermined when you eat in a way that's satisfying and nourishing and not restrictive. That's being in the present. Okay, moving on. Hidden truth about diets, number 2. So this is really about emotions. Diets lead to intense emotions. People feel shame, embarrassment. They feel like they've failed. And why is that? Why in the world a diet lead to feelings of shame, embarrassment, and failure? It's because diets, just by nature of what they are, they give you structure. It's actually rigid. They're food rules. So people follow rules. And, people are natural rule breakers. It's just what happens. You're on the diet. You can have X amount of this, X amount of that. And it's like, screw this. And I'm going to have everything I want. I had enough of that out of control eating. So it does lead to binge and emotional eating. It's this all or nothing thinking that when you're on a diet, some foods are good, some foods are bad. If you're on, I don't want to name every single diet, but if you're on keto, quote unquote, carbs are bad. The bottom line is that really that is just not true. The notion of diets and diet culture is that some foods are morally superior. Even just think about the way people talk about food. Something is sinfully delicious. Halo top ice cream. It's like everything, it almost sounds like it's moralistic. It's got a religious tone to it. So dieting does lead to binge eating and shame. Why? Okay, so look at this woman. I don't know if that's ever been any of you, but I've been there. I'll just tell you that. I've done every single diet. I couldn't do the work if I didn't know what it feels like. You get deprived on a diet, meaning you're starving your body. What happens? You start to increase the feelings of wanting to eat all the things you've deprived yourself of. So let's just say you've been going along, doing well on your plan, following things, 4 ounces of this, 8 ounces of that, your 3 fruits, whatever it is. And there you go to a family party and there's all those donuts out there or cookies and, it just looks so good. And, once you have one, the taste is in your mouth. Okay, it's really hard to stop at one. So what I'm describing is called the binge restrict cycle. And we know about this from years and years of watching people struggle with keeping on diets. So starting on the far left, restricting is going on a diet, cutting back on your food intake for whatever reason. You start to feel empty and hungry. You start to have obsessive thoughts about food. And then what happens? You start to eat anything. And as soon as you start to eat more, and usually they're foods that are sweet because your body is really craving to have some glucose for the brain, you start to eat and then it's like it starts to get out of control, a binge, and you feel really, really guilty and really crappy about yourself. And then what do you do the next morning? You wake up, oh my God, I've been such a bad person. You pay penance for eating. I'm going to go to the gym today. I'm going to work out. I'm going to not eat again. And so you restrict, and then it goes around and around. And this is what yo-yo dieting is. This is restrict, binge cycle. So our bodies respond to periods of starvation by lowering our metabolism, and then increasing our need for quick energy. And so when we are around foods that are sweet, carbohydrates, sweets, sugars, it's going to immediately, our brain and our bodies are so smart and wise, they need the quick energy, so that's what they look for. And it does lead to binge and emotional eating. And people feel like they're a failure and they feel really ashamed. I have so many people coming to my office that say to me, I have everything in my life under control. I'm great at my job. I have a good marriage. I have kids that are successful. I just don't know what's wrong with me, why I cannot lose weight, why I can't keep it off. And people feel like they are truly failures. So let's think about dieting and how it affects your emotions. I mean, this picture just cracks me up because it's so real. It's so real. I have so many clients, so many people I know who do this, where you step on the scale feeling really good about yourself in the morning. You've been working out, you've been eating in a way balanced and feeling good about yourself. Get on the scale and the number, you don't like the number. It's higher than you want it to be. And you think, holy, how could that possibly be? I've been doing so well. And you move the scale around on the bathroom floor, or you find a flat surface. Like, how can you see if the number changes? Is it going to get any lower? I mean, that is crazy. That's letting yourself be controlled by the scale. And why is a scale like this iron mother? It's like it gauges the kind of day you're going to have. It's just a scale. It's just a number. So just in terms of emotions and strong emotions, we all eat emotionally from time to time. People eat under stress. People eat when they're angry. People eat when they're alone. I mean, this is emotional eating. And again, it's very normal. The problem is if eating when you're under stress or emotion, if it's the only way that you manage your stress, it can become a problem. And it's important to learn some new skills to add to your toolbox. This is The Biggest Loser. This is a picture of Allie Vincent, and I, blocked out her body. We don't need to see anything or hear those numbers, but she's the first woman who ever won The Biggest Loser, and she lost a huge amount of weight. It took people who were in larger bodies, brought them to a place where they were exercising all day, really being on restrictive diets, and they had these crazy trainers, like really pushing them. They were starving, and there's probably a lot of things that happened behind the scenes. But this is Allie Vincent 7 years later. She managed to keep the weight off for 7 years. So she broke the record. She went more than 5. She had this tearful post back in 2016. I gained most of the weight back. I swore I'd never be over blank amount of weight again. I feel ashamed. I feel embarrassed, overwhelmed. I feel like I'm a failure. So those feelings are really so common. It's what everyone feels when they aren't able to maintain their weight loss on a diet. And this is just a really dramatic way of illustrating it. And everyone who was on The Biggest Loser has said the same thing, that most of them were much happier going back to their weight. It was easier to maintain, because to live in that small body in The Biggest Loser, you really need to be having disordered eating behaviors. Okay, step 2, how do you overcome the power diets have on your life? I know it's hard, but it's going to be important to work on ridding yourself of all or nothing thinking. There are no good or bad foods. There's this notion that foods are morally superior, that if you eat ice cream or if you eat something that is pleasurable, then you're a bad person. Every day there's a new study. But the bottom line is that all foods, including fun foods, pleasurable foods, foods that are sweet, chocolate, desserts, they can fit into the framework of a balanced, healthy diet. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. We live in shades of gray, not black and white. Hidden truth about diets number 3, diets cause harm. They cause obsessive thinking and disordered eating, which is what I spend all of my days doing. So here's what happens when you diet. Meaning, by the way, intentionally trying to lose weight. Dieting is intentional weight loss. You become obsessed with that scale, and you become obsessed with the number, and whether the number, calories, points, macros, is really something. And diets cause people to stop practicing self-care. I had someone I saw last week who'd been dieting, actually really, really restricting, close to being really disordered with her eating. And she was going to the gym every single day despite actually having a stress fracture in her foot. So it didn't matter to her that she had this fracture, that she needed to be on bed rest. She needed to exercise. And so, diets can cause disordered eating and eating disorders. This is a study that was I retrieved. It was done in 2011, so I think the numbers might be higher. 75% of American women surveyed endorsed unhealthy thoughts, feelings, or behaviors related to food or their bodies. And the numbers, I am confident that they're higher, and I'm confident that they're exactly the same in other countries as well, in Canada, in Australia, in England. And by the way, for males as well. It's really not just only women. I saw somewhere recently, I don't have it up here, but I saw that a study showed that women would rather take years off their life than be fat. They'd rather be unhealthy than be fat. This whole worry about taking up space and having body fat is really problematic. So of these people who were occasional dieters, 35% of them progressed to pathological dieting or disordered eating. And of those, as many as a quarter of them, 25%, advanced to full-blown eating disorders. And I'm going to make a point about eating disorders. They're really not a joke. They're not funny. They are serious illnesses that have a very high mortality rate. And that's what I see in my office every day. And every single one of them will say it started with trying to, quote unquote, eat healthy. I just wanted to eat healthy, which is another way of saying I want to be on a diet. 10 million females and 1 million males suffer from eating disorders. More than 1 million people struggle with binge eating disorder. That's a really high number. During World War II, our government studied the effects of food shortages. Kind of cool. They wanted to know what happens when there's, famine. They recruited 36 healthy young male conscientious objectors. So these were people who they agreed to be in this study. Here's what happened in the study. These men were fed their usual diets for 3 months. And remember that these men, they were in the war, so they were probably 18 to 21 or so. They were really young, strapping, healthy guys. They were eating a very healthy diet, but a lot of food. Young guys, 3,000 plus calories. And their food intake was reduced in this study to create a weight loss of just 25% of their body weight. And that was done over the course of 6 months. So I'm just guesstimating that their diets were probably about 1,800 calories. I'm only using these just by way of saying that it doesn't sound like it's such a little amount, but it actually is. After 6 months, they were finally refed their weight, refed and get back to their normal weights. And here is the shocking results. All of the men in the study became disordered eaters. During the restrictive phase, when they were, having a quarter of their usual intake, these men had constant thoughts about food and recipes. They became irritated. They had reduced stamina. They had low body temperatures, heart rates, libido. This is really what happens to many people I see with eating disorders. And what's interesting is that this was during World War II. We didn't have the Food Network. We didn't have diet books out there, recipes everywhere. So this is really what happens is you get constant obsessive thoughts about food. In fact, several of the men had to drop out of the study because they became emotionally unstable. They really developed eating disorders. They binged, they purged, and none of them were able to continue starving themselves. Here's another thing that happened to these participants. When appropriate amounts of food were finally given to them, the men reported experiencing extreme hunger, like insatiable hunger. And they had the need to overeat for a very long period of time, to get over this sense of I need more food, I need it to be available. And it took almost, 1 to almost 2 years to finally relax around food and, have their bodies trust that food would be coming at regular intervals. And that is truly amazing to me. So it really demonstrates the effects of food restriction, or dieting as we now call it. The effects of starvation are low energy, anger, irritation, low sex drive, low body temperature, low heart rate, obsessed thoughts about food and eating. And so diets cause food preoccupation and obsessive thinking. They isolate people. When you're on a diet, think how many times you've avoided dinners out. A friend calls, let's go out for pizza. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't go. and you're thinking, I can't eat pizza. You avoid socializing. You're just not there. You're not available to your friends and your family. Okay, step 3, how to overcome the power diets have on your life. Really work on being more present. Really try to allow your body and brain to not be controlled by food and to give yourself the mental space for pursuing your greater purpose and goals in life. So becoming aware of food and your feelings. You can learn to love food in yourself again, but it's going to be by discovering patterns that have caused you to binge and overeat, because that's really what starts the cycle of shame and low self-esteem. So becoming aware of food and your feelings is one of the steps, and that takes time and practice. Okay, hidden truths about diets, number 4. Diets prevent you from enjoying foods and listening to your body. But diets come with rigid rules that specify exact amounts of various foods. And, it really does take away from the enjoyment and satisfaction factor from foods. And what I find interesting is some diets will say, if you don't feel hungry, it's not worth it. Hunger is a basic, normal human body cue that tells us to eat. When babies cry, we give them bottles or breast milk. We don't say, no, you can't have it. If you're tired, your body tells you you need to go to sleep. And hunger is just your body's normal signal to eat food. So I'm going to talk for a moment about diet culture, because I think people hear diets and they hear the words diet culture and, what does that even mean? So diet culture and culture in general is a pervasive system. It's a system of beliefs, social behaviors, values, and norms in society. And it assigns a hierarchical value to bodies and normalizes the pursuit of thinness. That's what diet culture is. Smaller bodies are favored over larger ones. I'm going to stop for one moment and remind everyone that there was a time that larger bodies were preferred over smaller ones. It used to be that a large body was a sign of fertility, a sign of wealth. And somehow in this culture that we live in, the bodies that are thinner are the ones that are valued. So diet culture also has this characterizes food as good or bad and really promotes personal health choices as a sign of moral character. So larger bodies are considered, quote unquote, less than, weak, lazy, and slow. And of course, we know this is not true, but this is the way that bodies are depicted in our society, that they're considered less than despite their behaviors or food choices or their metabolic health. There are people who are in large bodies and they are perfectly healthy. They exercise, they eat a balanced diet. They don't have high cholesterol. Their blood values are very good. But that's what diet culture would have us think. Smaller bodies are valued for some reason, regardless of their healthy behaviors, food choices, or metabolic health. Our society is really crazy. So walk away. How do you walk away from diet culture? It's really hard. What does unlearning diet culture actually look like? That's probably the $1 million question. What are the concrete steps that you'll be able to take to walk away from it? And, really, how do we challenge this paradigm that's held everybody hostage? Diet culture is holding everyone hostage. So if diets and diet culture don't work, what in the world does? So of course, here's the answer you've all been waiting for. Intuitive eating is something we come to when we finally give in and seek refuge from diet culture. All right, so how to overcome the power diets have on your life. Step 4, make peace with food. It sounds so simple. Making peace with food is one of the principles of intuitive eating. And it's a very process-based approach that teaches you how to have a healthy relationship with food and get away from diet culture. Intuitive eating is not a diet, and I'm going to make a point here. Anywhere you see a health coach or a health professional saying you will lose weight with intuitive eating, mindful eating will help you lose weight, that is just not true. It's not a diet, and it's not used or recommended for intentional weight loss. I'll say that people may or may not lose weight learning to become an intuitive eater when you stop binging and eat in a way that's satisfying. Your body weight may change, it may decrease, it may increase, it may stay the same. We don't know, but it's not used for intentional weight loss. It's used to make peace with food. It's used to heal your relationship with food, your mind, and your body. So Intuitive Eating is a book written by two amazing dietitians, Evelyn Tribole and Elise Resch. And this book was written like in the early 1990s, I want to say. And it's a self-care eating framework. It has 10 principles, and it has a validated assessment scale and very, very good research studies showing an array of health benefits. It's not like they just developed this process and like, okay, just try it. We have validated studies showing that it really works. And the bottom line is learning to become an intuitive eater means that you eat in a way that's nourishing and satisfying to your body, and you move in a way that honors and respects your body. I just want to emphasize those words, honor and respect, because that is a really different way of approaching our body other than dieting and beating it up. When you are an intuitive eater, your body will feel strong. And here's the best part is the focus is now on how you feel rather than the number on the scale. I highlighted how you feel because that's really what intuitive eating is all about. How do you feel in your body? And learning about how you feel in your body. How do you feel in your mind? It's a process. It's complicated. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's really working on how you feel internally. And what happens to your weight when you're an intuitive eater? Everybody tells me they worry, I'm just going to keep gaining weight and gaining weight. I'm never going to stop. And the bottom line, as I say, is for anyone to make peace with food, they need to put the notion of weight loss just to the side. I know it's very hard for people to let this notion go. And I so much honor that because of how we live in diet culture. But if you continue focusing on weight loss, it's really going to make it difficult to let go of all of your food rules and worries and trying to make peace with food. So your body will reach its natural, healthy set point weight when you make peace with food. And I'll say it again, we have a set point weight that we're genetically programmed to become. This is my favorite picture. This is me and Emmy. She's a supermodel. She's amazing. She's 6 foot tall. That's me. I'm with her. I'm 5 feet tall and shrinking. And I just think for a minute, this is like such a great picture because it shows you that genetics play such a role in the way that our body is. And why is weight different than height? Everyone has a different body shape. You know, if you look at your kids, if you look at your other family members, you know, there's generally a body shape that is familial. And so that is really, we can't make an apple into a pear. We can't make a stick into a round. That is just what happens. We have a genetically predetermined weight. So here's a story about one of my clients. I've changed her name, like some other people on this call. She's been on a diet since she was 5. And her parents, especially mom, very weight focused. And mom was also on a diet from a young age. And mom was constantly restricting and binge eating. And this is what happened to Judy. She became a binger and restricted her diet. And she was really, really worried about weight gain with stopping dieting. I've been working with her for probably about 1.5 years. She slowly started to make peace with food, eating more freely, really stopping her binging and enjoying foods that she never had before. And what happened is, this is really the sort of the best point, is that she never exercised. She didn't like moving. She didn't feel comfortable. She found a way of moving and exercising that felt good to her. And so her focus wasn't on the number on the scale, but it was on that, hey, I feel better now. I'm not binge eating and I'm moving more and I feel better. Kathy is someone else who's been in my program. She was in it for 6 months, and she realized that diet mentality, she never really thought about it because she kept saying to me, she was never on a diet. She was never shamed about food from her family growing up. She was constantly restricting without realizing it. And it was like last week, she finally had like an aha moment. She realized that although her mother never judged her, her mom was always on a diet. And it took Kathy more than 6 months to realize this. And she's really working on intuitive eating, mindfully eating. And she was able to bring back chocolate into her house. She was afraid to keep it in the house because she kept binging on it. So she learned to slow down, and she's had the same chocolate bar in her house for a week and a half, which is kind of amazing. That in the past would have been gone like in an hour. Okay, hidden truth number 5. Dieting is not the pathway to good health, I'm sorry to say. Dieting, or weight cycling as we call it, doesn't lead to good health. It causes inflammation in our bodies. It can contribute to high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and restricting foods and calories can lead to loss of lean muscle and vitamin and mineral deficiencies. And in our media, the messages about health, again, is just kind of like that good, bad, like thin is healthy, fat's unhealthy. It's just not true. Eat better and you'll be healthier, exercise more and you'll be healthier. No. Health is about more than weight. Health is about more than diet and exercise. So here's the bottom line. Intentional weight loss is not necessary to achieve a healthy lifestyle or a healthy quote unquote weight. Step 5, let's overcome the power diets have on your life. Make peace with your body. It's hard. I know it's hard. I struggle with it. I work on it. Try to live your best life and make peace with food in your body, and recognize that as we age, our bodies change. I don't have the body that I did when I was 20 or 30 or 40. And start living your life now in your here and now body. Don't wait till next week or next month, next year when you lose weight to go swimming or to go to a party or to wear something, that you wouldn't have worn before, to have sleeveless tops. Just go and do it now in the body you're in. This brings me to health at every size, which is a very interesting and important approach to learning and treating people in all bodies. Body diversity is a fact of life. We're not all meant to be the same. How boring the world would be if every single person looked the same. So health at every size is a philosophy that helps support people in adopting healthy behaviors and habits just for the sake of health and well-being, not weight control. So health at every size encourages eating flexibly, which in a way that values pleasure and learns to honor your internal cues of hunger, satiety, appetite, finding joy in moving your body and becoming more physically vital, and accepting and respecting the natural diversity of body sizes and shapes. That's probably the most important aspect, to respect that there is natural size diversity. So in intuitive eating comes with 10 principles. And learning the principles will help you have self-awareness and self-compassion. And that's really the best way to be able to challenge the cultural messages, especially the crazy one that says only one size is acceptable. Shame is not an effective motivator for human beings. And when you're dieting, you feel crappy, you feel like shame. And why would we want to take care of something we hate when we keep saying, I hate my thighs, I hate my stomach, I hate my body? You don't take care of things that you hate. It's important to try to be more compassionate and have that approach in how we relate to our bodies. And by the way, if we're health professionals, how we relate to other people that we work with, to be compassionate. And think about this. We really care for the things we love and accept. So when you're trying to take better care of yourself, that's where you start, with compassion. So these are a summary of the 5 steps to overcome the power diets have on your life. Number 1, live fully in the present. Work to rid yourself of all or nothing thinking. Number 3, become aware of food and your feelings. This is awareness, mindfulness. 4, make peace with food. That's learning about intuitive eating. 5, make peace with your body. Health at every size. How do you move forward? I think that's probably what everyone here wants to know. What do I do? What do I do now? Okay, I believe you. I believe diets don't work. What do I do now? They've had so much power. How do you change? So I'll say the first step is really the hardest. You're undoing so many years of dieting and restricting and undoing all these beliefs about dieting and body image that they've been ingrained in you. You don't, even if you don't know where they came from, they're ingrained in you. What's the way to change? So no matter where you are in your journey in learning to become an intuitive eater, some people do better with group support. Many people do well with one-on-one individual counseling, but that can be prohibitive for many people And so I have developed an option that is more affordable and provides group support, and that is the Eat, Live, Nourish Support Circle, which I'll be talking about in a moment. And it's a program that I've been running it for almost a year, and it's a wonderful program that helps people learn to practice intuitive eating step by step. It provides support. It has access to a lot of different programs that I've really developed over the past several years. So I have a program called Dip Your Toes into Intuitive Eating. It has a value of $50. That's available in the support circle. There's all kinds of ebooks, handouts, checklists, resources that I've worked on that are available that has a value of $250. We have a private Facebook support circle community. And I say this because support is everything. It's really hard to make these changes alone. And it's nice to have people who are going through the same thing. So I have also in there something called the Intuitive Eating Essentials Self-Study Program, which I by the way, if you would buy that separately, it's $197. It's an 8-week program that I've done in the past, which takes people through all the steps of intuitive eating. So the other really very important things as part of the support circle are a once a month 30-minute body image training call and question and answers. Yeah, I think I mentioned I've been trained to be a licensed body positive facilitator, and I use a lot of that work in helping people make peace with their bodies. Once a month, we have 30-minute intuitive eating training call and time for questions and answers. A few weeks ago, the topic was emotional eating. Last month, I talked about how to figure out what your values are so that you can really figure out, whether dieting is worthwhile or you're going to continue with intuitive eating. So the topics, they change, they're interesting, they're challenging. And one of the most important and helpful aspects is this once a month, we have an hour-long group support circle call. It's really very much process-oriented. You're supporting one another and talking about what your challenges are and supporting each other in the challenges. It's really very experiential, and it's something that people really enjoy. Now, here's something that I offer in my support circle as well. Some people who come to intuitive eating don't really have an idea what they like to eat. I hear this all the time, that once I don't eat, if I'm not dieting, I have no idea what I like. No idea. And that's actually part of what happens in intuitive eating, is you learn to try new tastes and different textures. And so having the option of getting a meal plan, and it could be just a couple of ideas for dinners or breakfasts, lunches, I offer that as part of the support circle, and it usually costs $100 a month. In my private practice, these are the fees that I charge. And if we added these all together, it's really a lot of money, $2,297. But this support circle really is designed to help people. Everyone deserves to make peace with food in their body. And so having a group program makes it much more affordable. I have a special. Membership in the support circle is usually $67 a month, or if people want to pay for a full year, it's $650. I am offering this support circle for $1 for the first month. And if this is of interest to you at all, I really suggest you start for $1. Here is where you go to sign up. So I'm going to go through this, but you get access to the Dipping Your Toes into Intuitive Eating, which is a $50 charge. Ebooks, handouts, checklists, resources. All of that stuff I actually sell separately, and that would be $250. You get access to this private Facebook support circle community, and the value really is $1,000 because I'm in there. I'm in there all the time. You have access to the Intuitive Eating Essentials Self-Study Program, which I offer separately. It's $197. You get a once a month 30-minute body image training call with questions and answers. That's a value of $175. Once a month 30-minute intuitive eating training call and question and answer, also $175. And seriously, my all-time favorite is the group support circle call. It's really fun and it's experiential, as I said. That's $350. And there is the option, a separate option, if you wanted to have a monthly meal plan, that's available, and actually is available for nothing. I guess it's available for $1 if you want to do the trial. So here is the deal. This is the fast action bonus. And I, I really think it's a good deal. If you register for the support circle for $1 and you do it by midnight tomorrow night, April 10th, you're going to get a month of meal plans for free. And I've really enjoyed the meal plans. I have several people in my support circle who are doing the meal plans, and they all posting pictures of their food. It's really pleasurable to see, look, I tried something new and it tasted delicious, try this recipe. So fast action bonus, register by tomorrow night at midnight, April 10th, and you get a month of meal plans for free. So I'm going to review that. $1 for a month trial offer. You get the ebooks, the handouts, checklists, resources, access to dipping your toes into intuitive eating, the private Facebook support circle community, intuitive eating essential self-study program, the once a month 30-minute body image training call and question and answer with a registered dietitian and certified intuitive eating counselor, body image training professional. You also get a 30-minute intuitive eating training call and the group support circle call and the option for meal plans, monthly meal plans.
What I'm going to do, folks, so she does have this special offer on for the $1 trial, but she was going to do a giveaway as well. So let me just click over here. And what she had to share with everybody for coming here and spending the time with her today was a handout on food rules. So I'm going to post a link to that in the chat, and you'll all be able to download that. And what it is it's a handout and a sheet that allows you to kind of go through and check and kind of determine if you have different rules that you may not have thought about when it comes to food, and determine if there are actual rules that might be determining and helping you make the choices that you're making with that, with what you eat and with how you act and with how you think about your food and your nutrition. So it's a really great handout there. And it is definitely something that everybody can certainly use. And as a starting point, I've done it myself and I found it very interesting. So you can click the link in the chat window and download that as well. And I am just, Erica's having internet issues. So I'm going to keep on going for her. And I'm just going to hit share on my screen here 1 second. Because I did do a little draw for the draw that we were having. So I was getting prepared on the back end as she was doing this to hand out, she's giving away a one-on-one nutrition counseling session with her. So I did a draw while we were doing, she was just finishing up there. And the winner from the names that were here that we chose for the giveaway of her nutrition counseling session. I'm just going to click here to just give you this information. So I'm trying to catch up here and text with her on the phone. So the winner of that is, and I'm just pulling through my numbers here. Hold on 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Evelyn. So Evelyn, you are the winner of the one-to-one nutrition session. I'm going to hit allow to talk. I don't know if you have a mic there, Evelyn, but you can definitely have a say hello or yay or whatever you want to say for winning that session with Erica.
Wonderful.
Excellent. I'm so happy for you. So what we will do, we have your email from the registration, Evelyn. So I will get that information over to Erica, and she will reach out and book that one-on-one session for you. Okay?
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks so much. And so I'm going to, I have, the next part here is the questions. So we'll see how this goes. I know, I'll tell you what's going to happen right now. Erica is, she's trying to log in, but I do have the questions that people were posting here. And I know the first one was from Cherie. And Cherie, you're asking a question about how you can lose fat long-term in a healthy way. You want to feel more confident and be better toned. I can tell you right now that I am not the person to answer that question for you, but I will get that to Erica. And I know what she's going to do here is probably do a re-record of the questions part of this. And in fact, she may just do the webinar live again and put them on. So I'll make sure that she gets your question answered on that one, Cherie, just so that you do get that, because that is a really important question there. Then we had one from Susan. Sorry, now I'm multitasking going through all of these things here. We had one from Susan, and she asked about the support circle. What if you have to miss a class in the program? Is it recorded? So I can tell you just from what I do with Erica and working with her and helping her, that the training calls are recorded. So the body image call that she does and the teaching call that she does are both recorded, but the group support call is not, because it's really an emotional and kind of what goes on in that is very private. And so she does not record those, and she does not put that information out for other people to see or hear. So those ones definitely don't get recorded, Susan, but the others are. So if you can't make it on a certain night, then you can, or afternoon, then you would definitely get the recordings. And she typically does the 2 Wednesday nights. She does, one of them is the support call, one of them is the body image call, and then the training one she does on Tuesday afternoons. So I hope that helps you out there, Susan. And Laura's asking, can I join if I have an eating disorder? So Laura, that is also going to be a question I'm going to defer to Erica so that she can answer that, because I know that there's very specific things when it comes to intuitive eating and eating disorder. So I will make sure that she reaches out to you about that one as well. And Tammy's asking, this is kind of a funny one, why is this only $1? Is there a catch? So I can tell you right now, because I help Erica with her business, it isn't a catch. She really just wanted to put an offer out there to try and get people to understand and sort of come into the program, test it out for a month and see how it goes. Joining right now for the next month, you'll be able to get in all 3 of the calls. You'll be able to see the training, the handouts, the resources that are there. And her goal is really for you to understand the value of the program, and that you'll stay on and continue being a paying member at $67 a month. To continue and get that ongoing support. I know with her programs that she does one-on-one, you know, her sessions are several $100s an hour. So this is Erica's way of really giving out an opportunity and an option for people that need this type of support and don't have hundreds of dollars to go one-on-one with dietitians. So it is her way of really putting something out there that almost anybody can afford. And then the bonus and the access to her that you get as an eating disorder specialist and a registered dietitian and a body image specialist gives you a very economical way to get as much support as you can. So I hope that makes sense for you, Tammy, and I hope that solves that question. Erica has texted me that she's got internet issues and her Wi-Fi is down. So I will probably say that we'll call it a night here, and she will definitely, I know what we'll do is something where we can get on and get some of the Q&A answered, because I want to make sure that everybody gets those specific dietitian questions answered by her. So we will definitely arrange something or rearrange something for this. I want to make sure that you did get the free food rules handout that is there. And we will also be sending out a email afterwards with a replay to the video. And what we may do is delay that and set it up so that, actually, I'm just thinking on my feet here, what we might do is delay that email and go out. And I'll just speak for Erica and say that we'll move her fast action bonus to Friday night too, so that we can get some of this done and answered and put into the replay of the training as well. So I hope that sort of makes sense for everybody. And Evelyn, again, congratulations for winning the one-on-one nutrition session with Erica. I know you're going to love that. I have done some work with her myself as well, and she really is an expert at what she does. And I think that's it. Does anybody else have any other questions? As I've been going through here, I don't think I see any other questions in here, but you can let me know if you do. So the offer, if you want to go to ericaleon.com/go, well, not .go, /go, and go to that website. It will take you to her training site, and you'll be able to register. There is a coupon code there. It says right on the page, just enter $1 at the checkout for the coupon code and put that in there, and then you'll be able to register for that first month for $1, and then the next month's will be $67 a month. And you can cancel this program at any time if you're not satisfied, but I'll tell you right now, working with Erica and listening to some of her clients' feedback, you probably will be super amazed at what she can offer for you. So I hope that answers everybody's questions and that you're all good with that. Evelyn, we will be in touch with you. And I'm going to head off and call Erica, who's probably having a major panic attack at this point. And we will get back to everybody and have a fabulous night.
Hi, everybody. This is Erica Leon again, and thank you so much for your patience. I'm going to answer them right now. The question is, how can I lose fat long-term in a healthy way? I want to feel more confident and be toned. Intuitive eating is not in any way a diet that is recommended or used for intentional weight loss. The whole notion of intuitive eating is to allow your body to reach its natural healthy weight and place when a person is practicing health-promoting behaviors, which means eating in a way that's nourishing and satisfying and not depriving, moving our bodies in ways that feel good. For some people, that's running a marathon. For other people, it's walking a few steps or gentle stretching. Everyone is different. Everyone is unique. Every body is unique. And the problem in our diet culture is that we're trying to make everybody one size. And so some people, if they've been binging or emotionally eating or really eating way more than their body needs, there's a possibility that with intuitive eating, a person's body weight may go down. That's a possibility, but by the same token, it also may stay the same. Or for some people who've really been on restricted diets or restrained eating, the weight may go up, and that's because you're not at the place your body's supposed to be. So I hope that answers the question. Let's see, Michelle had a question. Do you gain weight when you are not on a diet when you do intuitive eating? And when a person's not on a diet, meaning they learn to eat in a way that satisfies and nourishes their body, which means you learn over the course of time to listen to the natural instincts and natural signals that your body sends you. So when a person diets, you really lose track of whether you feel hungry, whether you feel full. With intuitive eating, you get back in touch with those feelings. And so you will be able to eventually eat when you're hungry. Most of the time, you'll be able to stop when you feel satisfied and full. I'm saying most of the time because there are times we all overeat because something tastes delicious, and that's normal. So some people gain weight particularly if they've had an eating disorder and they're really, really not eating enough. And when someone's been dieting and really suppressing their weight, not eating enough for how much their body needs, yes, they may gain some weight. Part of working through intuitive eating is working to accept your body's natural genetic set point weight. And there is such a tremendous fear of fat in our culture, and it is something to work on tackling. Some people may mourn the loss of the teeny tiny body that they hoped to have, but this is all part of learning to become an intuitive eater. Okay, Erin asks, can you tell me more about the meal planning? What is that you plan? How does it work? So the meal plan that I have is Eat Love, and it's a dietitian curated meal plan service, which means that I review examples of, let's just say if someone is first starting out, I might recommend try and see what it's like to have 2 or 3 dinners during the week that I suggest. And it gives you menu ideas. It gives you the ability to grocery shop from from the recipes. And I generally ask people what their food preferences are, whether someone is a vegetarian or if they have any food intolerances. And it's amazing. It's actually computer generated. And so there are so many different combinations of meals that can be provided. Some people want to have a week's worth of breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Other people, when they're first getting started, I usually recommend just start small, start with one or two dinner meals. Or if it's really, really hard for you to think about a breakfast, maybe we start with that. So it's very individual, but it's really is a wonderful program. So I hope I answered that. Laura asked if she can join if she has an eating disorder. So this is not a substitute for eating disorder treatment in any way. The support circle is just that. It is group and peer support, but I am an eating disorder dietitian, and so it really depends. If someone has a restrictive eating disorder like anorexia or has extreme symptoms, if they're binging, they're purging, this is really not the right place for you. If someone is very close to their recovery and you're working with a team, it's a possibility that it might be helpful. So I would say ask your team. And if you have questions, you can certainly email me privately. My email is erica@ericaleon.com, and I'd be happy to talk about it with you. So Tammy asks, why is it $1? Is there a catch? And no, there is no catch. I'm trying to introduce an affordable option for people to have access to learning about intuitive eating. I am so passionate about smashing diet culture and breaking free from diets, and I see the tremendous damage that it does to people's souls. And I really want to help people truly get a sense of what this is like. And so I'm introducing just the first month for $1 because I know that you'll see the value and that you'll want to continue in the support circle, which will then be $67 a month. So I hope I answered that question. Okay, if any other questions come up, you can certainly email them to me privately, erica@ericaleon.com. And thank you everyone for hanging in there, waiting for me to do this part. And I hope that you join. Have a great day.